I've been very busy off camera. I was gonna record an entire thing for building my team, but apparently the whole files crashed. So like I have to re-record some stuff. I want to show you guys the arena I built. Like, you can't really see it from over here. So like, this is the arena. I hope you guys can like see it like decently. I worked pretty hard on it, and this is what I got to show for it. Like, if you watched One Piece, you should know what the Baratie should look like. And so this is kind of like inspired from that. So you see the dining room in the first floor, and on the second floor we have the kitchen area. I wish I could have done a lot more with this place, but I didn't really have that time. This is gonna be like the roof. I'm not sure if we're gonna have like other battles up here. So the reason why I built that arena is because I wanted to do a tournament with my friends, and we are making our teams. And I think I'm just about done making my chancy. It's kind of unfortunate because I recorded, I mean not really recorded, I tried to record all of it, but it just didn't really start recording. And it just like crashed on me, and I didn't really know why OBS did that. So I want to give you guys the rundown of my team. So my team is kind of centered, since this tournament is like double battles. My team is kind of like centered on the strategy of using some of my team members to beat up like the Pokemon and have Chansey and Shuckle in the end. And I have like a bunch of different kinds of strategies. Like I want to lead with Miraidon in Incineroar to try to sweep up any, like take down any of their like dragon dancers or sword dancers. And also have Trick Room on for Graph to probably help my Mawile. I also wanted to get Trick Room on this one, but I don't think I really have a lot of room, so I'm gonna hope that I don't have the opportunity to get rid of my Trick Room Pokemon and take down my Chansey. Because like the whole idea is to just like whittle them down to like their weaker Pokemon, or like at least weaken them. Set up with Chansey with Minimize and Defense Pool, and use Seismic Toss, which basically does 100 damage because the chances of 100, and it inflicts damage equal to the user's level. So I gave Choice Specs for Miraidon to help do that, and I gave Mega Meteor and Dazzling Gleam to hit both sides. Incineroar has Fake Out and Pointing Chart to just annoy them. In Paragraph has Trick Room, as I said before. It also has Electric Seed that boosts the defense in electric terrain, since Miraidon can set up electric terrain. This could be either good or bad because like everybody else can have like at least one Paradox Pokemon. I don't know which Paradox Pokemon it's gonna be, but yeah, that's gonna be either good for me or bad for me, depending on what they put on the team. I gave Incineroar a Burning Trap to like lower the special attack and attack, so like it's also like a slow switch in. I also maxed out the IVs as best as I can. He doesn't really need that many IVs In the EVs, you can see it here. I think it's a decent EV spread. Yeah. I think I also want to like give these guys names. So like, I'll get back to that. Yeah, I decided that since I named this Goofy Uber a long time ago, I'm just gonna base all these nicknames on the SpongeBob stuff. So like the fun joke for like F is for friends and the Dirty Dan, like it should be W for Wumbo. And like the Texas stuff and the drawing of Bess's path, as well as the struggle being named Goofy Goober. So I guess this is the entire team. So I guess the next time we should cut to the small tournament for me and my friends. You there? So I couldn't really get everybody on, but I think I got like only 2 people. I was gonna get like 4 friends to do the tournament, but there was like like I don't know, there was like one person that had problems and like another person that couldn't make it. But in the end, I still got 2 people to join me. So I only got 2 friends to get on for this small tournament. I forgot to catch a railroad to transport us all there, but it doesn't really matter. I just thought it was a cool way to get there by sea rather than in the air with a flying Pokemon like Metagross. I let my friends have a look around the arena. The first floor is the dining area, the second floor is the kitchen area, and the kitchen has a teleporter that sends you up to the crown. Later on, one of my other friends joined. He wasn't going to participate, but he was going to watch it. My first battle was up against my friend Kev. I led with Miraidon and Incineroar, which I believe is my team's best lead. Miraidon sets up electric terrain and Incineroar has Intimidate to lower the attack stats. I decided to use Fake Out on Clefable first because Clefable really is like a utility Pokemon. And then I used Dazzling Gleam on both of them to take out Dragapult and deal damage to Clefable. His next turn he sent out Golurk, and I thought he was gonna try to use Earthquake and take out Miraidon and Incineroar. So I just used Terra Fairy with Dazzling Gleam and killed Clefable, and his Golurk still lived and managed to kill my Incineroar with a fighting type move. Since the electric terrain is still up, I decided to send in my photograph, and I decided to use Helping Hand, and I was able to destroy both Golurk and Gardevoir on that same turn. He sent out Necrozma and Dragonite, and this is where I started to get nervous because Necrozma right now is a Steel type. However, he used Ultra Necrozma, and I even ran the calcs, and I'm assuming he has max attack EVs, so it was in range of 96% to 114% to kill. So I was pretty lucky I survived that and killed it, especially since it turned into a Psychic Dragon type, and it left him with his Dragonite. He tried to use Extreme Speed, but my Farigiraf has Armor Tail, making priorities moves useless. So I ended up winning, only losing 1 Pokemon. Next up, my friends Kev and Greedy were up against each other. Kev used the same lead as last time. However, Greedy used Mega Charizard Y and Gouging Fire. I found out that Kev was trying to use his Clefable as a tank to soak up all the hits while his Dragon Ball sets up. His Clefable goes down, so he switches in Golurk. Kev uses Dragon Darts, and in my opinion, I would have just decided to use something else. Because how Dragon Darts work in doubles is it works as a spread move instead of a multi-hit move. And depending on the whether it's singles or doubles, it changes. And this is because the 50 base power is what makes it pretty bad for doubles. It's because it's not quite enough to kill everything. So we lost both Golurk and Dragapult on that turn. Greedy decided to switch out his Charizard, and I'm assuming he is going to set up the Sun again later in the fight. His Gouging Fire finally goes down, and his Tinkaton got very low after one Earthquake from Necrozma. Greedy switches in Gortrum with Terra Steel. However, Kev has Ultra Necrozma and is spamming Earthquake, so Gortrum got an Earthquake and went down. Greedy sends in his Charizard Y and Venusaur, and he uses his Dynamax Venusaur, and he takes out Gardevoir, and Venusaur almost got one shot, but it had a focus. It had a focus sash. By this time, Kev pretty much had the fight, pretty much won. I think his Ultra Necrozma is pretty good against Greedy's team, especially since it has good coverage in stabs and being able to switch from Necrozma to Ultra Necrozma to change its steel type weakness, especially against the Garchomp. I explained how the tournament will continue, but if I win this battle, I win the entire tournament. So this is the last fight between me and Greedy. We both played with our usual Pokemon. I decided to use Terra Fairy Miraidon right off the bat, while Gary decided to use Burning Bulwark, which is a protect move, but it burns the attacker if they make contact. Luckily, Incineroar is a fire type, and that effect doesn't work on fire types, so I didn't get burned. I decided I wanted to use Parting Shot on Charizard since I know it's a special attacker. His Gouging Fire got off a Dragon Dance, but I'm not too concerned about it since it went from -1 to 0 due to Incineroar's Intimidate. I decided to go for a graph, and I decided to stall with Protect and try to do damage with Miraidon, since I know it's gonna stall with Burning Bulwark. I ended up getting a free turn since he missed his Heat Wave and I was protecting with Photograph. For now, Photograph is gonna use Helping Hand to boost Miraidon as much as possible. I killed his two leads this turn, but he sent in Tinkaton and Venusaur. I'm assuming he's gonna try to kill Miraidon, so I can't let that happen easily. I switched to Incineroar for another Intimidate attack up, while I used Photograph to go for a Trick Room. Tinkaton used Get a Smack to lower my special attacks on Photograph, which isn't good. The next turn, he had his Venusaur Dynamax and destroy my Photograph. So I sent in Moile. Moile also has Intimidate, so the attack bonus on the Tinkerton is even lowered, and his speed restores back to normal attack. I decided to make it evolve and protect on my mobile and use Flare Blitz on his Venusaur. Since it's Dynamax, it has a lot of HP, so it believes however you couldn't kill my antenna even with play with from Tinkerton. I decided to parting shot the Tinkerton and second punch the Venusaur, and I finally sent in Chuckle. Since Garchomp is pretty strong, I decided to use Power Split on it. And he was gonna have Terra Steel, so I decided not to use Play Whip. Instead, I used Iron Hit on his Tinkerton to finally take it out. He used Sword Stance, but it was not as useful because of my Power Split. And his final Pokemon is Annihilate, but this time, Trick Room has pretty much run its course. So I was thinking he was gonna try to kill my Mario, so I tried to Sucker Punch, but it failed since he was sitting up, and I decided to stall with Chuckle since Garchomp is weaker now. I should have just Sucker Punched again, but for some reason I didn't, so Mario went down. I did, however, get an infestation off of Garchomp. I tried to get in Chansey, but it died immediately since I didn't have Trick Room anymore, so I can't use the strategy I wanted to try anymore, so now it's time to just end the battle. Garchomp may be a steel type, but I decided to use Dazzling Gleam because of its Annihilate. After it went down, there's not much Garchomp can do since his attack stat is much slower. Despite being steel type, Miraidon still did decent chunk of damage to Garchomp. Infestation drained its HP over the battle and it eventually went down. I decided to give everyone the Pokemon for the tournament. Normally it was gonna be like for second and third place, but since like didn't have enough people this time, I decided to just give them the Pokemon for participating anyway. So Guida got a Mew, and Kev got a Melota, and they all have perfect IVs, and although the tournament was smaller than I hoped, I still wanted to give them the prizes for participating. The main prize for this tournament was a shiny Shadow Mewtwo, which is permanently in its Mega form, and currently in this mod pack, it's unobtainable. Serious. If you guys have enjoyed the series, I might do it again someday. But for now, it's time to say goodbye to this whole world. I wanted to show a small montage of all the builds on this server. I have my friend spaces, the community center, and the arena. This might be the last episode of this series, and I still have the world, but if I do continue this series, it's not gonna be multiplayer. And I wanted to talk about what I can potentially be doing next. I'm currently thinking about nuzlocking a game, and I'm not sure if I'll record the entire thing since nuzlocks can be very long. In the game I'm trying to nuzlock is pretty hard. I also have different games to play and a different mod pack in the back of my mind. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this series. I hope to see you all again in the next series.